I think it's live. So, what can I talk about the muses? I don't want to talk about the muses. I don't want to talk about the experiences. But the thing is, since we are doing it today, we can do something regarding this. But I'm really concerned about the culture. So, let me just talk about that. Just give me one sec. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was muted. So, I was telling that, I'm really concerned about the culture. I hope you got that. But um, nowadays, people make buildings made out of stone, cement, and then your bricks and other materials, but it doesn't have that soul. And what is an artist without the soul? So we talk about inspiration, source of inspiration, but what is the artistry? What is the artistry? What is the creativity? Can you see that in the work? It is not there. It is not even in the thoughts. It is not even in the way one have a chat. I won't mention chat. We'll have a conversation. When we artists have a conversation, real artists, sometimes we converse in silence. We don't have to utter a single word. It can be with the muses. We can share our muses. That can be one thing, and we can have. Depends on the situation, obviously. I mean, I'm not being judgmental about it. Depends on the situation, totally. Then our artistic inspiration, our source of inspiration, it can be a tangible thing. It can be a thing that you can see, that you can touch, something which is there in real life. It can be something, supernatural force, someone who is not there. If you read many poems, you will see that the inspiration for the poetry, the person was not there at all, but the poetry, the poem was written, and it is a beautiful poem. So I wanted to do it in a different way today, but I will like to keep it candid as usual. Um, Gradually, we will have more candid discussions. But musings, I'm really concerned about the culture because many people don't understand the culture. Many people don't understand the artists in India nowadays. So that's a concern because I can see for the last few years, I have seen an evolution of deterioration, if I say so. Because initially Bengal was one of the places where artists were respected, their privacy, their processes, their company they used to keep, the sometimes the secret things they used to do because it is a part of the process, obviously. The musings they had, the muses they used to talk to, we respected all these things. So an artist's life, maybe we don't understand it, maybe people don't understand it, but people used to respect that in Bengal. Now there is a tendency, I can see the evolution of deterioration, and it is driven by, as I have mentioned many times, because of some inspiration. They are going to the definitions, then as usual they are doing the distortions. Then they can blame me and they can make a lot of excuses, but that's why I do it in a very funny way. So they can do the blames and excuses because I have seen it myself, and I don't feel like talking about it. But when I mention again and again, you will, people who have gone through this, especially abroad and in many places, if you have really involved yourself in it, if you have gone through it, you can relate to it. A lot of it you can relate to. So that's why, explicitly I don't have to mention again and again. I can mention few things, I can give you hints, and there can be a communication by speaking less. I think we can communicate in silence. we can communicate with less number of words. So it's not necessary that we have to use a lot of words, a lot of definition. We have to project that we are smart. We have to explicitly mention again and again, or maybe persuade someone that we are smart, we are artists, we are into art, we are doing something of art. We don't do that. I don't do that, and I know many people, many great people don't do that, because we don't have to do that. We are living it each and every moment. At each and every moment of our life, we are actually living art. We have surrendered ourselves towards art. Sometimes the art has surrendered towards ourselves, if we are up to that, because it takes a lot, because art is something huge. We used to say this, life is short, art is long, and the Latin version of it. So we used to talk about all those things. uh, Ars longa vita brevis. And so life is actually short. If you say life is actually short, because we have limited time span, we have very few years to live, and we are the tiny little speck of dust in this huge entire universe, just speck of dust. And in this huge universe, but whatever we can create through our artwork, we can speak a lot, we can communicate a lot. We don't have to necessarily use the words. Too many words sometimes actually pollute the understanding. uh, Definitions, distorted definitions. I saw some people, I have to mention that, because when I started this artistry, when I chose to do art, or it was a calling for me, I was drawn towards art. The gurus actually told me, in a way, in a very supernatural way, that I should pursue art. And I took that path, and I have never been sad about it. I have never been unhappy about it. What I have been unhappy about is the culture, the deterioration of the culture, more specifically, and some people who could have changed it, who had the position, who had the responsibility, who had the social status, who had the influence over the mass, who could actually change it. Rather, they went for a different path, and the path is consisting of, you will show a lot of money, position, and then you will do a lot of kitabs. You will take a lot of fake things, and you will show that you are into art. Maybe you are going to an occasion, maybe you are going to a place where people have invited you, and you are giving them a painting just to show that you understand art. You are a connoisseur of art. So sometimes I look at some movies, they have talked about it, but I don't feel, these phony people, these hypocrites, they don't have a place in my space. They don't have a place in my uh, uh, close circle. I explicitly, I specifically reject them. Sometimes throw them out. Sometimes kick them out, and they behind my back tell a lot of foul things about me. But this is what it is, and you have to go with it. I'm not going to change for that, because I believe in art, I believe in love, and I know what is the truest form, what is the highest form. And I'm constantly seeking. I'm continuously experiencing, learning, and seeking. So if I know this is the highest form, I am ready to go higher. I'm giving myself the chance to explore what it can be, what can be the potential for me, for others, for people around me, for people who trust me, for people who want to be with me, for all these people. I want to go through that exploration. So it is a constant learning and exploring, an adventure, if I say so. Discovering myself in new ways, discovering others in new ways, looking towards different conversations, different opinions, points of view, getting enriched by those points of view, myself and others, back and forth communication. So many things we can do, and life is short. We can have those great conversations. Maybe we are not working together, but we can have great conversations. So coming towards muses, so problems of culture, I will always keep hinting you. I will give a lot of hints. Uh, as I mentioned that, this, it's not about only muses, it's about the culture. Because when you don't understand what is a muse, maybe one or two people are doing it about a nengti puriye, sort of like calling it a bikini, or whatever it is. But they are actually showing you the bikini, and in another way they are telling you that this is a nengti. So it's like derogatory terms they are using for a thing, an attire you can actually wear, you can express yourself in that. So it is like a constant turmoil, and they don't understand the meaning of it. They don't understand how it is conveyed, how you can communicate it. Only few people will do that. Others will, just look up to that, and they will do other stuff. So India is not a country like that. If you have gone through Greek mythology, if you have gone through Indian mythology, you will see it is very vast, it is very deep, it is something much more than this. So then what happened? Again, the definition, distorted definitions, if you go to those, you will see that Muse. Maybe somebody is searching in Google. This is the Muse. We have 9 muses in Greek mythology. Zeus married Mnemosyne, and we have these 9 muses, and then we will talk about sirens and all these things. So they are just reading the definitions, then they are distorting the definitions, then they are playing a lot of role plays, just like they do with Ramayana and Mahabharata. So they have a lot of responsibility, but they don't know what to do with it. They have really, I think, poor education, illiterate people mostly, and they want to keep others illiterate. They want to keep others with that poor taste and poor choice of words, poor, a way of dealing with people, way of behaving. So they are marketing that in the name of a mass culture, in the name of a pop culture. They are trying to market that. So they don't understand the archetypes, they don't understand all those deeper aspects of mythology, the things you can learn from each culture. They don't have any respect for that, you know so when they're using muses, they are just using, oh, that person looks like me, he is using a muse, I will use a muse. So she is my muse, and the entire world is thinking that this person is using muse in that context. But if you don't know the other side, if you don't know what happens behind the back, then maybe after a lot of mistakes, or maybe after a few mistakes, you will understand maybe the person doesn't understand what a muse is all about you know so if you have really gone through artistic experiences, those explorations, you will see that nobody has to teach you about muses. You will see how to have a muse, how to go for a muse, how to get fall in love with a muse, how to get a lot of source of information, how to write a poetry for her, poem for her, how to write a lyric, maybe a song you can write for her, maybe a composition, musical piece you can write for her, maybe a novel you can write for her, maybe a picture you can take, which you can do for her. So these used to be the basic things. A director can stay with an actress. That is not a bad thing. That is part of the process. And I mentioned few movies, about few directors. So it's a part of the process. The muse is staying with the artist, a constant source of inspiration. She can stay with the artist, or she can be far away. But there is the source of inspiration, creativity, artistic inspiration, source of inspiration. All those things are there. Sometimes there is a lot of conflict, there's a lot of turmoil, but that is shaping the artist. So the artist is going through the struggle. But cherry picking the words, what is struggle? And they are creating their own struggle, or they are comparing with their own struggle to the other struggles. What is happening? What is the outcome? The artist is getting down and down and down and down. Gradually he or she is getting lost, and there is no one to help that artist, not even a muse, because the people they are calling the muse, they're not even muses, because they are not the source of inspiration. Rather, they are the source of something else. Maybe the source of their own downfall, maybe the source of their own deterioration, maybe the source of their own catastrophic blunder. But they are being marketed as muse. The problem is, since we have been losing the culture for a while, or the cultural depth, the problem is, if you understand what a muse is all about, how you can communicate with a muse, how you can stay with a muse, how you can continuously get motivated or inspired by your muse, and we can do so many things together. It is not a bad thing, it is not a nasty thing, it is not a dirty thing that we are continuously talking about foul things. People are gossiping, people are making a lot of rumors, but the artist is not involved into all these things. The artist is creating his or her art, or maybe having a great experience with his or her muse you know so From that, we are creating a lot of great stories. From that, we are creating a lot of great artworks. But here we don't see the artworks because those deeper aspects, those real or natural or actual aspects, those are not there at all. We're just using definition, distorted definition, words, and all those things. So when the artist is going down, there is no one to help. There are very few people who can help. We don't have a community properly, a proper community where we can help each other out, support groups. I mean, there are nowadays, people are trying to do it, but there is a big force that can demotivate them, and they don't understand it enough that how each simple thing that comes from them, that can actually demotivate them, that can take them away from their artworks or the process of art, being an artist. Because sometimes the artists suffer for their sanity. Maybe their sanity is too true, or maybe their sanity is too too good for this world, because the world cannot get it, the world cannot withstand it, the world cannot take it. So that's why we need to be more empathetic, more compassionate towards those artists. They are going through a lot of struggle, inner conflicts, outer conflicts. They are going through a lot, and then they are finding a way to express those things, those emotions, those experiences through their art forms. Now, a culture like Bengal, if we are losing that in Bengal, then we need to really be very supportive about it, so that we can do something for the artists. We can actually do something that can help the artists to pave their way, to give them a proper respect, not like a kitab, not like something that they are having that and it doesn't have any meaning. It's a shallow or a hollow thing. They are just getting a name. They are just getting a, maybe a, so it can be a tangible prize too, but it is not enriching them in any way. Bengal used to be a place where artists, scientists, people from different backgrounds, they used to get enriched by the culture of Bengal, by the nature of Bengal. You understand what I'm talking about? So if I talk about Muse, many people think that if you are in media entertainment, if you are in artistry, if you are into art, if you are into media entertainment, you're just using the word muse in a very casual way. You don't even understand it. That's why many people from the culture don't understand it. So since that person doesn't understand the meaning of muse, it gives me so-called power so that I can manipulate the definition of muse and I can market it in a different way. You understand what I'm talking about? So what is happening? Many people are not even understanding, especially young people. They are not understanding what muses mean. Rather, they are understanding a different meaning of the muse. They are having ill feelings, psychologically unwell feelings about a muse. They are having psychologically unwell, sick feelings about nudity, something they can embrace on their own, irrespective of the gender. They can do that. But this ill feeling psychologically, something unwell, something sick, something dirty, that is being propagated continuously to the culture. So people used to get enriched here. Now there are incidents, people get, irritated by this incidents, because this is happening in Bengal. It used to be like a educational or cultural lighthouse, and maybe many people used to come spiritually. They used to get enriched by the nature, by the culture. And it is not only about art and media entertainment. I'm talking about literature. We used to have so many great poets. I mean, Rabindranath Tagore is one of them, and he did an incredible job because he created this university called Vishwabharati. So I was talking about this thing that since people don't understand the meaning of muse, since people don't understand the people from the culture, they don't understand the meaning of muse, and some people are continuously forcing different or distorted definitions of muse in the culture. What are we getting? Youth is malnourished. They're not getting the essence of art. They are forgetting to meditate in silence. They are forgetting to meditate in nature. Rather, they are continuously thinking they have to do something like this, something like that. They have to pretend, they have to do a lot of role play. So, getting close towards yourself, an inner journey, inward journey, you are missing out all these things. because the society is continuously labeling you. They're being too judgmental, they are putting labels on you, they are putting this and that, they are criticizing you in a very wrong way, in a very bad way. So you are not flourishing as an artist. You're not even giving yourself the time to be an artist, to explore your artistry. What will you choose? Maybe you are trained in painting, then you are going to music or maybe something else. So that's why I always mention that people are building buildings. They are building a lot of things to show this, a big building made of stone and cement and all these things. But when you come to Vishwabharati or a place like that, there can be many places, but Rabindranath Tagore did a great thing. When you come to this place, you are being closer to the nature, and things around it will shape you in different ways. The more you explore, the more you will take an inward journey. You will nourish yourself as an artist. Maybe you don't know anything, you just have the love for art. You went there just for the sake of seeking something is illuminated inside you, maybe as an artist or as a human being. Maybe the shackles of life, the shackles of this matrix, you are bothered by that. You have had enough. You are not going to do a spiritual suicide. You are not going to go for a spiritual suffering. You can come out of that. You are seeking. So you are going to a place, you are going to play a place, you are going to the nature, you are spending some time with yourself, and you are getting nourished. You are seeking, and the nature is giving you an abundance. There are few places like that in India nowadays. In the world there are many places, because many people are maintaining that, but in India we have very few places like that. Now the people who don't respect nature, who don't understand nature, who are coming towards places like this, you have to understand that ultimately we will lose its essence. I am sure that we won't, but their mindset is like that. Gradually, it will be propagated in the culture, gradually, it will be propagated to the youth, and eventually, we will see that artist clan, the artist tribe, the artists are not that anymore. So we will again become stuck in the past. We will see at one time we used to have it, we used to have that, we used to have that culture, we used to have those people. Now we don't have it. Then we are crying together, we are going into frustration and depression together. No, we have a path. Nature can give us the way. We ourselves can give us the way. People who can really trust us, who can really love us, they can give us the way. So in one place you are doing a lot of things. It can be painting, it can be sculpture, it can be ceramics, it can be the printmaking, it can be visual arts, it can be music, it can be literature, it can be martial arts. You can do so many things at one place, and you are interacting. There is no barrier, there is no wall. You are interacting with people, you are learning from each other. Now I know few people who look towards this, and they try to imitate that, they try to make their own thing, but it doesn't happen like that. Because Rabindranath Tagore, he himself used to be a man of that ideal, or those values, or those principles. So he meant that, he believed in that, and whatever he created, there is a sense of congruence, there is a sense of authenticity. Now many people I know, in the last few years I have seen many people compare Rabindranath Tagore with other people, and they don't even understand what they are talking about, but they just use those things. Some people use the beard, some people use the this style and that style, some people use the inclination towards the muses. I mean, Rabindranath Tagore wrote a lot of poems, a lot of a huge amount of literature, and different things, painting, and so many other things. So there was a source of inspiration, and that was channelized into the artworks as well. People could come, they could have great discussions, could get inspired or influenced by this man, his personality, his charm, his charisma, everything. And he didn't have to shout, he didn't have to make any gesture, he didn't have to show this and that. The Just by the personality itself, people used to get inspired. And we see external manifestation of that personality or those ideals in that place. And the harmony with nature, the communication with the nature, when you are being one with the nature, So that is a part of our Upanishad, that is a part of our yogic culture. So everything was there. Along with that, respecting each and every culture, European cultures, Indian cultures, other Asian cultures, we are having everything, amalgamation of so many things, right? I'm just giving you an example because uh, we are stuck in the words nowadays. We are so stuck in the words, we are not even going beyond the words. And there is a culture being built with that. Sometimes we have to respect our feelings, sadness, happiness, whatever emotions we are going through, we can respect our feelings, you know. So, source of inspiration, people are understanding what is the inspiration. I don't even know what they get inspired uh, by, or what inspires them, what they actually do with that inspiration. Now I have figured out, but as I said, when you are part of the culture where you are marketed different or distorted definitions, and people are deliberately doing that using their money and position. So what are you getting out of it? Suppose you haven't done your own journey, you haven't done your own exploration. Now if you are giving that person a pedestal just because of money, position, or social status, or the celeb position, whatever it is, if you are giving that person or a group of people a pedestal just because they are having that position, and you think that they understand the meaning of the word more than you do, you can go through a catastrophic experience. Because maybe you know the word, the meaning of the word muse, or can be any word related to art or artistry. Maybe the word artist itself, you know the meaning of it, you know the experience of it more than they do. So just because they have this position or money or social status or celeb position, whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily mean that they understand the meaning of an artist. They understand the process of an artist. They understand what a muse means. They understand what that process of creation means. But they are having that. You can respect them for that. That's up to you. That's completely your choice. But you have to figure out yourself things, because if being an artist you don't have your own voice, if you don't respect your own feelings, if you don't expect you don't embrace your own emotions, you don't trust your own instincts, then I think you will come up with a shallow thing or maybe a copy of someone else's works. When you are seeking, you are figuring out your own philosophy, you are discovering your own voice, you are discovering so many things together, all these things. When you're doing all these things, you are seeking, you are exploring, you're going for an adventure, you are embracing things, whatever happens to you, you are surrendering yourself to the universe, maybe you are surrendering yourself to the this um, art, whatever you are doing, and doors are getting opened for you. You know, this entire universe is giving you opulence, affluence, abundance, and you are making so many things. It can be something of science, it can be something of literature, it can be something of the arts, it can be something of the business, anything it can be. You have this universe, and this universal force is guiding you to be your best self, maybe towards your best self, towards your best offering, whatever you can offer, whatever you have given so far. Maybe you are stuck, you are going through writer's block, or maybe you are stuck in the artistic process. Maybe you think that you are not going beyond whatever you have done, so maybe you are stuck, you want to go beyond it. Stigma, then your stereotyping and all these things, you know that you can go beyond it, but you are not, you are looking for something bigger, you're looking for something larger than life. You're looking for something bigger, maybe a supernatural force, maybe a force of nature, maybe one person that can guide you, maybe a guru. Sometimes you're seeking. That guru can exist in real life. That guru can be a manishi. We call a manishi or a guru. Uh, Maybe he has existed in the past, he has lived in the past, you know uh, he used to be there in this world. He is not there anymore, but his artworks are there, his creations are there, her creations are there. So when you read those books, you are actually having a conversation with those people. When you are going through these artworks, maybe alone, you're exploring, you're diving deeper into those artworks, you are figuring out stuff no one else did. That's how we make progress. That's how we become better people, better human beings, better artists. Because we, maybe if I talk about cinema, we sat with cinema and we gave our best. So we immersed ourselves in that cinematic experience. No words, no books, maybe sometimes only cinema. If it happens with books, you can do it with books. You can deep dive into those books. You can immerse yourself in the cinematic experience. You can do all of it. But you are figuring out yourself. You are trusting your instinct. You are trusting your judgment. You are figuring out what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing, what is the right thing for you, what is the wrong thing for you. Subjectivity, objectivity, so many other things. Naturalism you are looking at, realism you are looking at. When you are looking at people, when you are looking at acting, when you are looking at performances, naturalism, people are calling that as naturalism. What does it mean actually? What is the deeper meaning behind it? Naturalism, realism in acting, in theater, you are understanding all those things yourself. Maybe one person went that far and you went beyond it because you gave yourself the chance to explore yourself. You understand what I'm talking about? If you don't understand, you go through those experiences, then you can take things forward. You know that that thing is a wrong thing or a shallow thing, you don't like it. The society will try a lot. Some people, especially even uh, more, you will be bothered by those people who are actually creating it or doing it to conform. So conformity will come. They will tell you insane, they will tell you mad, they will call you mad, they will call you insane. They will continuously push you towards conformity, so that you don't have your own voice, you don't have your distinct voice, you don't have your own philosophy. Rather, you should copy someone else, because that is giving you the instant money, that is giving you the instant gratification. Now, only when you have a lot of bravery, when you have a lot of courage, when you have a lot of belief in yourself, a faith in your abilities, when you actually uh, trust yourself that you can do something more, you can do something better, you can make the change happen, you can have a vision and you can actually implement it, you can actually make it a reality. When you do all those things, those people change the world. Those people actually change things. Whatever profession you are in, you will see those are the people taking things forward, breaking the patterns, breaking the rules, and taking things forward. Because the moment you are conforming, you're not going beyond it, right? Whatever is there, you are conforming to that. Now you're not even understanding your own potential so that you can go beyond it. Now maybe one person is telling you that you can go beyond it, you can do better, you can be so much more. Only for a while. That person will go away, your motivation will go away. What we can call it, extrinsically motivated. You are not intrinsically motivated because you haven't figured that out inside yourself. You haven't sought that exploration. You haven't sought that experience. You never cared for that. Whatever happens, I will go with it. You never try to take a chance against the tide. So you didn't have your distinct voice, you didn't have your altruistic style, or you didn't have your own philosophy. Now when you have that, or at least you're seeking, you're going towards that path, you can do so much more. Because as I said, at the start, life is so short, and you are motivated by this abundance. You are doing literature, you are doing painting, you are doing art, you are doing music, you are doing opera, you are doing drama, you are doing fine arts, dramatic arts, liberal arts, whatever you can call it, whatever you can name it. Different ways of experiencing, different ways of expressing, different ways of channelizing your abundance towards maybe a specific artwork, maybe a group of artworks, or maybe someone else is doing that and you are guiding them, you are inspiring them, you are motivating them. You are just a human being of flesh and blood. Now, how can you do that? When you can connect to that nature, when you can connect to that abundance, when you connect to that universal force. Sometimes you can do that by prayer, sometimes you can do that surrendering yourself, as I said. And there are so many ways you can figure out your own path. Yoga is a thing in Indian culture. Yoga is a path, uh, different paths. You can took the sorry you can take the jnana yoga path, of the path of knowledge. You can take the path of bhakti yoga, the devotional path. You can take uh, raj yoga, karma yoga, anything you can take. Now, again, yoga, the definition of yoga has been uh, distorted in so many ways. You think that yoga, I am doing artistry. What is the meaning of yoga? What is the use of yoga? You know, when you are understanding the essence of it, because yoga is actually experiential education, it is not theoretical education. So when you are doing yoga, you are understanding the essence of it. You are actually experiencing the holistic aspects of it. You are actually experiencing your whole being, and with that you can give so much more. The problem, succession planning, again, our great people, our great gurus used to know that. Maybe they knew that, maybe they created an institution based on that, maybe they created a culture based on that, maybe they created a lot of artworks based on that, but maybe they didn't communicate it enough to the next generation who were uh, ready to take that mantle, to take it forward. So there is a gap, and then some people came to take advantage of the gap, distorting meanings, making it very lucrative, and actually taking you away from that artistry. So experiences, you cannot get demotivated, or that demotivation or that frustration can be your artwork. Like, if I talk about different artists, they have their different styles. We had different movements. Now, muses, if I just use the term use a muse, uh, you will see that, um, I mean, this is a basic thing I won't mention, because as you know that you can create an artwork with the presence of the muse or with the absence of the muse. Now, if you always think that the presence of the muse is important but you are not creating anything, that's, you are just passing your time, or maybe that is a part of your artistic process, artistic exploration. I'm talking in the context of contemporary Indian culture. I am having a muse, I am staying with my muse and I am spending some time together. I mean, I really doubt one artist will ever mention that. You're having a time, you are having a lot in silence, you are actually enjoying the process. You will never utter a single word because you are obviously doing that. Why do you have to mention that? When you do the artwork, when you actually love your muse, so it is reflected in that, the communication you are having, maybe the touch you are doing, maybe the way you are loving. Then you can do a painting, you can write a poem, you are writing a song, you can writing a music, you can write a musical composition, you can do so many things, right? You don't have to utter a word, I have a muse and this is my muse and this is the thing and the thing. So maybe you can do that, you can show it to people, but you can do a lot more than that. From the paintings, people will talk about your muses. Oh, what a lucky woman she is. People used to tell me that, I used to compose a lot of musical compositions for my muses. I have had a lot of muses in my life, to be very honest. I have had a lot of girlfriends in my life, a lot of source of inspiration. So, um, for some, I used to create a lot of poems. For some, I used to create a lot of songs. For some, I used to create a lot of musical compositions. Never explicitly mentioned it between me and that person, uh, and maybe our close circle. We never mentioned that, and we never had to. But there is a culture where you're continuously pushed that you have to mention this and that and this and that. So I don't believe in that, because if I am nourished by that, if the person is nourished by that, what can be more than that? We are always winning in love. It's a win-win solution. Again, when you mention win-win solution, it is taking the artistry, some a bit of artistry out of it. So we are getting nourished, we are getting enriched by that experience. Whatever life gives, we are exploring life. Now different people, different ways of exploring it can be there, but you cannot force people to do one particular thing, which is happening nowadays. People don't understand it enough. If you could have understood it, I think you could have been more empathetic or compassionate. Since you don't understand it and rather you want to, uh, I'm talking about some people who want to, peop- who want people to understand particular distorted definitions. They are getting mad about it. I am really concerned about that. They are getting mad about it. You have to understand the meaning of muse is this, the meaning of this is this, the meaning of this is this. I mean, why? You explore life, you figure out. Maybe today you are understanding the wrong meaning, tomorrow you will learn better, tomorrow you will understand the right meaning, and that evolution will teach you a lot, right? So that's why you will understand why I am mentioning these things, because all these things are related. Why don't we have a great movie, a great cinema, a great film based on a writer's life? Why don't we have a great uh, film based on a musician's life? Why don't we have a great life, a great film based on an artist's life in India? Why don't we have that? At one time in Bengal, we used to have that. At least in Bengal, we used to have that. In India, we had few movies like that. Now we don't have that. Why? Because in many ways they are telling you you don't have to go through those conflicts. You can omit those conflicts, instant gratification, and so many other things. So you are not even understanding those emotions you are going through. You are not even feeling those things. You are not even looking at art in a deeper way. You are not spending some time alone with that artwork. You're not giving yourself the chance. Everything is like this. You have to do like Maggie, 2 minute noodles. You have to do this. I'm just giving an example. Quickly, you have to make something like fast food and all these things. Art is a lot more than that. No matter how many words you use, no matter how many distorted definitions you use, art is a lot more than that. And also, I will mention one thing, that seniority, its respect can be earned. So you will see that the culture is so shallow nowadays. Just because one person is older, just because one person is senior, you don't have to respect that person. Because you will see, just at the moment we are having the word muse, something other than wife, if I mentioned, you know the moment you are having the word muse, the moment you are having the word, source of inspiration, she stays with me, all these things, you will see that a lot of barriers, a lot of barriers. Now an artist needs that. And you will see they don't even understand marriage, because if they would have been truthful about the experience with the muse, I won't mention muse anymore, with any relationship, with love, a relationship of love. And even if you mention muse, it can be a spectrum of experiences. For one person it can be, she became his um, love, or source of inspiration and muse together. Or maybe she had a wife, apart from that she had a muse too. There can be so many instances. Sometimes there can be many muses, as I mentioned, for Picasso and for many other artists. There were many muses, and there was a collision of muses. I have gone through the experience, so I know how it is. And if you see a movie called Vicky Cristina Barcelona, that just give you that just gives you a glimpse of that. You can see that. So and that is not also I won't specifically mention the word muse and all, but what I am talking about is the experiences. When you're true towards those experiences, then gradually in your life you will find great relationships. In your life you will find great love, the partner you can marry, you can find all those things. But you're starting with not being truthful towards the relationships. People are getting married, they don't even understand marriage. The people are getting married, they don't even understand the relations. They don't have to understand the relations all the time, but for an artist you need to give yourself that chance. So if you are not marrying, maybe you are holding on to a higher truth or something much bigger, something much better. Maybe you respect those relationships in a much better way, in a much more respectable way, in a much bigger way. That's why nobody is up to that respect. That's why you are not marrying. Nobody is up to that love. That's why you are not marrying. So that is something you should respect, right? So if you do all these things, you will come up with better artworks. You will come up with better this thing. Creations, better experiences, better relationships. So it is just like that. And people will always criticize, and you will be having a way to deal with them. But just because of age, don't respect one person. Respect should be earned. And I can tell you, at least to people who are with me, I can tell them that I have done that. But especially when you are an artist, especially in contemporary India, if you are an artist, you will see people, the moment they listen to the term muse, the moment they listen to the term this and that related to artistry or an artist, they have a very dirty mindset towards that. So you know how to deal with that, and in some places the administration is provoking that. They're actually provoking that, they're supporting that. Maybe some people in the administrative forces, they understand it, but they cannot raise their voice. So ultimately what you are getting is that dirty mindset towards artists. So do the necessary take the necessary actions, do the necessary things, but never compromise your art. Do whatever is necessary for your art. Your art is more important than these people, no matter how older they are, no matter how so-called senior they are, because that is also propagated in the culture. We obviously respect our seniors, but if those seniors don't respect what is required for an artist, what is uh, how we should respect an artist, if they don't respect it, then we have to teach them how to respect an artist. The more we will start to do that, we will have an understanding of those in the culture. We will have a community where we can shape each other, we can nourish each other. Otherwise the artists are in separation. Now one incident happens, maybe that person is not even responsible for it, that happened by mistake, and the culture is created like that. Trust issues, a lot of distrust, a lot of doubt, a lot of hatred, a lot of jealousy and envy, this and that, all these things are mixed together. Maybe a great relationship didn't happen. Maybe a great friendship didn't happen. Maybe a great community didn't get built. After a lot of years, maybe we are thinking that, okay, 6 7 years back we thought of that, now the condition is even worse. We could have done something like that. I have gone through that experience. So time will pass anyway, you have to take the action. Right now you can build a community, right now you can go through those experiences. Impressionism again, I will mention one thing. It's a very funny thing, I will just end with this. Impressionism is not about creating an impression. You will understand. I mean, there are some people, they're in celeb positions. You won't even imagine. They think that impressionism is creating an impression. That too, like, you are persuading, you are manipulating, to you are doing a role play so that the person buy into your role play and they believe what you are selling. So in that way they are creating an impression, and they think that by doing that, since they are creating an impression, and that activity is called impressionism. That is not impressionism. So Monet, the name actually came from a critique, and it was this impression of a sunrise. Claude Monet did a painting, and in the salon they were having this exhibition. So Manet did it before. Manet actually started it, but the name came after. So there is a lot of things behind that. The brush strokes are not yet complete, so that's why that is giving an impression. Sometimes people call it, when you are closing your eyes, it is not completely closed, it's not completely open, but you are having a feeling of that painting. In that way it was created. There are so many other things, but you can relate to all those things. But it is not creating it is not about creating an impression just by persuading and manipulating. You understand what I'm talking about? So that's why don't play these games with these people, and if you play, know that where they are coming from. Impressionism, expressionism, or any movement, understand the essence of it, from which movement it came, what was the reason. uh, I mean, it is not about the fight between Matisse and Picasso, but what was the fight about, and how Picasso went beyond it, how he did a name for himself. Then Picasso, it is not about that Modigliani was poor and Picasso was rich. So it is about one person is poor, one person is rich. That means that person is Modigliani, this person is Picasso. It is not more. It is not like that. So think beyond all these things, then you can achieve a lot as an artist. So I just gave you a hint, but we will continue talking about muses, sources of inspiration. But enjoy life. Life is too short. Enjoy life, experience life. You will give the world so much more. Thank you so much. You will give yourself a great experience of life. What can be more than that? So